Permit me to provide clarity on one shall chase 1,000 and two shall chase 10,000. What does it really mean? Let's begin with the famous verse, Deuteronomy 32, verse 30. It says, and I read, how could one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them and the Lord had given them up? That's the context and the scripture, or where the whole one shall chase 1,000 and two shall chase 10,000 came from. Some have argued and recently argued that this verse is a curse and that it's about defeat and not something believers should speak positively over their lives or even declare over their marriage or even include in their marital vows, or people should pray over couples. And I'm here to say no. Actually, it's not a curse when we use it, and it's not a curse even if we understand and look deeper. Context really matters. So if you look at that story, the verse is God explaining Israel's defeat. Yes, it was actually a context of Israel was defeated, but it was because they walked in disobedience. So yes, it speaks of how enemies chased Israel because God allowed it. The key factor here is that God allowed it, right? And the power to chase or be chased was never in the numbers alone. Family, this is where I want you to understand it. It was always, and it will always be, about who is backing you up as a couple, as an individual as well. So if God in judgment could allow two enemies to chase 10,000 Israelites, then in his favor, he can empower two of his people, his children, his called ones, his anointed ones. He can allow them to chase 10,000 enemies. Are we saying that God can, what he could do with the enemies, he can't do for his children? Absolutely, he can. And that is the context in which we take that scripture and we say, one shall chase 1,000, two shall chase 10,000, talking about what is possible in and by the power of God. So if you want to look further, you would see that in Leviticus 26, verse 8, it actually says, 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall chase 10,000, shall put 10,000 to flight. So again, showing us what is possible by the hand of God. So tell me why we cannot declare over a couple, anointed, graced by God, carrying the glory, that they will chase 10,000s. They will definitely by the hand of God. And in fact, it's important to know that in those days, thousands were the highest numbering, I think, at that time. And so, in fact, 10,000 is just a little of what God can do with two people who come together in unity with him, in partnership with him, under his power, his glory, and his greatness, and his permission and authority. 10,000 is even little. He can do 1 million, he can do 10 million, he can do billions, he can do zillions. And it's important that we don't limit the hand of God. We don't limit the exponential power of God. He's not a 1 + 1 kind of 2 kind of, it's a times 10, times 100, times thousands. And so if you look at the scripture in Leviticus 26, verse 8, you see that God was making a promise of victory and multiplication with his help. The key thing is his help. So if we declare over a couple, I declare over my union, that 2 of us will chase 10,000, because my outcomes as a single person cannot still remain my outcomes as a married person. No. When 2 graces have come together, 2 children of God have come together, children of God who know their Lord, right? They will do exploits. They will be strong. Those exploits is what we are declaring when we say 2 shall chase 10,000s. So this was God making a promise of victory and multiplication with his help. It reveals a supernatural, exponential outcome when God's people move in unity under his umbrella, under his power, under his banner. If we need further confirmation, we will see that even in Joshua. In Joshua 23:10, there is a deep, clear statement saying, 1 man of you shall chase 1,000, and the Lord your God is he who fights for you as he promised. So that's a possibility. So if by the hand of God, one can chase 1,000, why shouldn't two chase 10,000? In fact, in 1 Kings 20, 15 to 30, the story of the Israelites going to war, and Ahab had to ask, how are we going to do this, And he had to take the 7,000 soldiers that he had and the 232 leaders that he had, and they went to war. Go and read 1 Kings 20, 15 to 30. This is just pulling out the exponential power possibilities that are embedded in God, that if a couple now put themselves under it, they will sure have those outcomes and more. And so Ahab in that story went with 7,232 to the battleground. Yet they struck down 127,000 enemy soldiers. Go and read that story. The 27,000 was even struck down by the hand of God. The 100,000 was struck down by the hand of God through the soldiers. 127,000 struck down by 7,232. That's the exponential victory by the hand of God that you and I can have, even as two people coming together, not even under the context of marriage. How much more under the context of marriage, where we have the authority to go and be fruitful and multiply, which is not just about having children, but so much more. So I want to urge you, and I want to just encourage everyone, please don't get confused and don't even settle for less, because trust me, the God that brought you and your spouse together, he's an investor. He's expecting returns on the investment he has made in you and your spouse. So much more that your outcomes in life will yield exponentially for the kingdom. I think of William and Catherine Booth when I think about couples who came together and God was able to do exploit through their union, through their partnership. That's where Salvation Army was birthed. I think of King Xerxes and Esther. Esther on her own may have been able to save 5 or 10, Israelites from perishing. But in the context of marriage, under the hand of God, Esther and the king, that union was able to bring about the preservation of the people of Israel, people of God who lived in that land at that time. Exponential power of God. The hand of God able to do more than we could have done on our own. Do with little, much. Or do much with little, right? And if that's not enough, let's look at Isaiah 60:22. It echoes again what we are saying and what God has on his heart for us. It says, the least shall become 1,000 and the smallest a mighty nation. And it says, I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. When we use two shall chase 10,000 in marriage vows or declarations, we are not misusing scripture. We are speaking to the supernatural power of unity under God's authority. And I want you to please remember this, know this, and hold on to this and make sure you have these outcomes. It is not about twisting a judgment verse into a blessing. No, it's about seeing what is possible when God is with us. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 to 12 reminds us, it says, two are better than one, a threefold cord not easily broken. Finally, in the workspace, we talk about team, TEAM, together, each achieves more. This also aligns with the principle. So please don't let anyone take away from you the fact that indeed two can chase 10,000. Go and chase 10,000, 10 million, 10 zillion if you can, by the hand of God, especially in these last days. You can be sure that the harvest that we have to cover is the Lord, and by the hand of God, we will. God bless you.